Secrets, locked away from us in a vault, never to see the light of day. Things that we will never know from just watching the edited show put in front of us on television. Thankfully for us today, the official DVD and Blu-ray releases of each season of Survivor contain quite a lot of secrets that you would never know from just watching the TV show, and that is what this video will be diving into today, as some of these secrets are game related, some are personal thoughts, some are just plain silly, and we will even find out why Stephen Fishbach received 0 votes at that final tribal council, and how exactly production makes those awesome opening intros. As long as it isn't part of the show aired on television, it is fair game to be considered a secret. While most of the secrets here are focused on season 18 Tocantins, some of them do apply to Survivor as a whole. So with that, I want to thank you for watching what I make and ultimately supporting what I do here with a liking, commenting, and sharing. For only a few bucks a month on Patreon, you can pick what videos I make, watch all of this channel's content early, chat with other fans of the show, and even get exclusive videos every month. Thank you for your support. To be clear, there is so much good stuff locked away in these extra features, and it's a lot, and to feature every single thing would be far too much for just one video. So I do recommend you watching them in full for yourself. However, this list contains the secrets that I found to be personally the most interesting. So with that, let's count all 51 of them in absolutely no particular order.
39 days, 16 people, 1 survivor.
Number 1. Something I always find fascinating when looking at older seasons and how certain players were perceived by the general audience at the time is the way CBS advertises and portrays the show. Whether it's online or on TV, the ads help shape our perception of these players, whether it's a truthful perception or not. So with that, let me present to you a video officially put out by CBS that is all about Coach being a hypocrite.
If you look at me, you look at Brendan, who looks stronger? I do. Have you seen Sierra? She screams. She's like, ah!
Way to go, Joe. Oh my God.
Number 2. Oh boy, the real behind the scenes stuff starts here, and this may be one of my favorite secrets videos due to how much I was able to unearth about how production works, starting off with how they shoot the opening cinematic for a season and the style the cinematographer uses.
The rain, the atmosphere, the event, the challenge, the passion from the people, the energy, and just I'm shooting it in almost a sports cinematography way of just moments of breath going up and underwater, breathing, so you can almost feel what it might be like to be one of the survivors out there, struggling, surviving to make it. But I only have 60 seconds, so every frame truly counts.
Number 3. In my mind, I've always imagined 2 or 3 guys shooting these openers. They probably use 2 cameras and are a small team who has to keep their luggage pretty light. Turns out I was completely wrong. They use a whole lot more equipment than I anticipated, and it is impressive how much they are using for a seemingly simple 60-second video.
One thing we have to deal with tons are logistics, and traveling with 26 cases of equipment and 6 cameras is logistics, and working with the locals, organizing, planning. As much as you plan, there's like the secret magic unknown that gets tossed into the mix of, oh, what are you talking about? We can't take that luggage on this plane like we had last night prior to the flights. And he's like, oh, you can each take 1 bag. And like, well, we have 25. And he's like, well, we can take all those over to the cargo department. And we're like, no.
Number 4. Now for the theme song. Remember that back when Ancient Voices was given a unique spin for each season? Russ Landau was the composer for the show through season 27, and here we have him in his prime telling us his process for creating a new spin for each season and what inspires him.
When I can, I do travel to location to record all that, the ancient music. And, I've been to China and Kenya and the Amazon and Pearl Islands and Australia.
Russ, he looks at the musical and cultural influences, and he takes those things and he folds them into his work so that those textures come to life musically.
Number 5. So far we have taken a look at the cinematographer, the composer, but now it is time for the editor. As someone who edits a lot of videos for businesses, for my own films, and this YouTube channel, I can tell you that this is probably the least glamorous job of the bunch by far. I would love to go to Brazil to shoot cinematic footage any day of the week, but here we find out some impressive details about what the editor has to do just to make that 60-second intro.
Well, typically Scott shoots anywhere from 12 to 15 hours of film for the main title. From that 12 hours, we have to come up with a minute that sort of introduces everybody, sets up the landscape, the tribal influences of the area, if there are any, and then any sort of urgency and or danger that might be present for the survivors during that time.
Number 6. Okay, back to CBS promoting certain players and making others look bad. We saw how they pitched Coach to us earlier, but here's how they sold Sandy, and it isn't much better. In fact, it may be worse.
You a little crazy?
Oh, I'm a lot crazy. You know, you can start setting up your camp. You can start setting up your camp. Your driver's on his way. You all are here. Oh my God. I wasn't even ever there. Wasn't an option.
Number 7. And speaking of Sandy, I'm not sure why this next secret happens since she doesn't explain the why, she only explains the what. And let me tell you, I'm still asking myself, what? Why? Huh?
I had this beautiful tattoo made and tramp stamp incorporated into it. That's me. I got the tramp stamp, so.
Number 8. I love when we learn about Tribal Council and what inspires the design and the details of how long it takes to build. Unfortunately, this season we don't learn how long, unlike in past Secrets videos, but we learn something else about its construction that makes me go, wow, that sucks.
Great story about building Tribal Council this year. We tried 3 times. We had location 1 and we lost it. We had location 2, which we were already up and building. We lost that location. Now we're here and it's beautiful, and here's the kicker. That second location where we wanted Tribal Council to be burned down. So everything worked out for the best.
Number 9. When Jeff gives a tour, sometimes he puts on a show, sometimes he gives us insane facts, and sometimes he votes out a member of the press. But this time,
I have something that I need to do that I've never done. For all the people I voted out, this is payback. Voting myself out.
Number 10. During the preview for Tocantins, there is a lot of talks of JT possibly flirting his way to the end. Is this the secret sauce he had to win it all that we didn't know about? We also kind of get this talk from Candace as well, but for some reason, JT is the one Jeff decides to imitate when talking about his possible love prospects.
And if I can get him flirting with me, that's what I need to happen.
Maybe he'll find himself a wife out here. I don't know. But I like him.
Number 11. Remember when these Survivor seasons were really defined by their locale? I personally miss it, and this is another reason why, as we hear from production about how they developed the look and feel for everything we see this season.
It's really mostly the indigenous tribes around here that we're going to be trying to factor into the look.
For Tribal Council this season, we've sort of had to adapt the local architecture or the indigenous architecture to suit our shooting needs, but it'll be very indigenous as far as its dressing and all the materials used to build it. The dressing will be bought actually from one of the tribes that makes its living from exporting these goods.
Number 12. Monty Brinton was the main photographer through at least the first 18 seasons of Survivor, and for the first time in our Secrets videos, we finally hear what his job entails. This is personally interesting for me as a professional photographer, as shooting something like a wedding can take a lot out of you, and that's just 1, maybe 2 days. But he is doing this for at least 39.
Once the game starts, I'm the guy that basically covers the game at the tribe camps, at the challenges. I also go to Tribal Council. My photographs are the one that you see in the websites, sometimes in the show, in your local newspaper or magazines that you may read. You get up early, you get to the camps, they're just waking up, you follow them around all day. Then there's usually a challenge, you cover the challenge. When there's days where there's Tribal Council, it's even longer because Tribal Council goes to about 9 p.m. at night and you started your day at 6 in the morning. It's pretty exhausting.
Now, I'm not 100% sure if he is still the photographer Survivor, but an internet search shows that he was doing photos for CBS as of 2021, so he's clearly doing pretty well for himself. Number 13. Coach is a lot of things, and unique is definitely a word I would attribute to him, and there's no one else I can think of that would compare to him. Though Debbie from Co Wrong has been called the female coach. That is for another Secrets video. But anyways, Jeff actually has a comparison for Coach in his mind that I don't think I agree with at all.
Ben, or Coach as he likes to go by, is one of the most fascinating guys we've ever put on the show. He's incredibly arrogant. He's almost Richard Hatch arrogant, where he's so arrogant that you're kind of fascinated by it. I'm not repulsed by it. I'm actually quite intrigued to see what he can do.
Number 14. I always wondered how Tyson ended up on the Villains Tribe in season 20. If anything, he was an anti-hero, but that does fall outside of the black and white character roles that Survivor likes to assign to its characters. Throughout the entire TV Guide preview, they keep building up to Tyson as this season's ultimate villain, literally comparing him to Johnny Fairplay, and they even save him till the end of the special because that's how big of a villain they predict he will be. I'm gonna say they were wrong, though he is hilarious.
Tyson is a villain, for sure. Tyson is the kind of villain, though, that you love to hate, and you're not going to want him to go home. He's a much better version of Ace.
Number 15. You may be shocked to hear this, but Coach had never seen Survivor before being cast on the show. I know, I'm blown away. I'm being sarcastic. But what you may be legitimately surprised by are some of the seasons productions made the Tocantins cast watch before they actually played.
They make you watch episodes and casting. And they also suggest that you bone up on your episodes as well. So they have all of the seasons on DVD. You can just ask for them in your hotel room. You're doing nothing. When I was there, they were giving us Pearl Island and China, All Stars, and Vanuatu. Those are the ones that they were giving us, that they were pushing the most.
Number 16. Coach was a legit NCAA coach before going on Survivor, but afterwards his reputation took a massive hit for his portrayal on television, and yeah, what I'm going to show for you here really sucks.
You know, I lost my job. You know, I mean, I was very high up on the coaching ladder. I was turning down Division I jobs almost monthly to find that right fit for me and the coaching staff. You know, being a soccer coach, you know, your reputation is everything. You know, essentially I was blackballed from the NCAA. I can't get a job at the NCAA. And so it was tough.
Number 17. I don't have brain capacity for this next one. I mean, I can understand how Coach does it, but there is no way I could do this myself, as Coach explains the work he puts in before going on the show so that every one of his confessionals has something new to add.
I will just grab something out there. It might not be 100% accurate. I might change a quote a little bit here and there because I'm not smart enough to memorize. I do write down 100 quotes before I go out there just so I can sound smart, because I know that I'm actually not smart, and I'll write them all down on paper and then pick one every single confessional. But I might not get all of totally correct, but at least the feels is there.
Number 18. Here we go. Jeff Probst assessing the cast in the pre-season. Shockingly, he doesn't make a winner prediction here, but he does make a who will definitely not be voted out first prediction. And spoilers, he's wrong.
Do not judge this book by its cover. She's small and she's cute, and I think people will think, pretty little girl in the red dress. I think she's really tough. She seems like she knows what time it is. She's not afraid to carry a heavy load. She's got a real reason for being out here, and nobody's gonna get rid of her early. She's too cute.
Number 19. Speaking of Carolina, in a secret scene from episode 1, Sandy loses her buff at the creek, but tries to pin the blame on Carolina for losing it, but Carolina definitely did not do that. These two totally get into a fight, and the real star for me here is Taj, who handles Carolina like a seasoned pro.
Are you sure that you didn't take it to the spring or take it down there?
Yeah, I left it with you. Come here.
Well, I was like, is it by the river? She's like, no, I didn't take it. I was like, are you sure if it's by the river? She's like, no, I didn't take it, and her buff is sitting right there.
This buff I gave to her before I come to get this water. So she's a liar when she said, oh, you left it on the beach. She's a liar.
Sandy's like, you know, JT, come watch me confront Carolina in front of everybody else. It was so funny because she was wrong the entire time.
Number 20. Candace has been on Survivor for, let me check my watch, 5 days, and she is getting thirsty. She lists 3 different guys she would make out with at this point, and 2 of them kind of make sense. I mean, I'm not a girl, I'm just taking a guess here if I was, but the third I find hilarious and would pay money to see them on a date.
Brendan's starting to get really hot.
Yeah.
He was like this nerdy, and now I'm like, who would you make out with? I don't. You had to pick someone. I might even pick Tyson. Somebody's making out with me. I don't care.
I love it.
I wouldn't even make out with Tyler.
Number 21. This one is simple. Everyone sleeps down on the sand where it's soft and nice. This is kind of basic in Survivor, though it doesn't really get mentioned a lot. But here, Sandy stays in the shelter. Everyone is glad, though, that she stayed up there for one reason, and this is the same reason I would suck to sleep next to as well.
She snores loud.
Number 22. When Joe was being medevaced, he wanted to give his immunity idol to someone, and production would not let him, as proven by the secret scene. But what is crazy to me, and I guess it shouldn't be based on how the season played out, is who he wanted to give the idol to.
I think I have the immunity idol, so I'd like to hand that off to somebody.
I was gonna hand the idol to JT. He needs it as much as I did, or maybe more.
Number 23. Sorry for you here, I don't have footage for you for this secret, but as revealed in interviews that came out post-Samoa, Mike Barassi from season 19 was originally supposed to be on this season, on the Jalapao tribe to be specific, but medical deemed him unfit at like the last minute due to sleep apnea, and Spencer took his place. And by last minute, I mean he was on the truck to go start the game. You may be wondering how he got on season 19 then, and as it turns out, Mike lost 50 pounds and got got jaw surgery to fix the sleep apnea. Too bad though, he didn't end up much better in that season. Number 24, Brendan was voted out with an idol in his pocket, obviously blindsided. However, during his final words, he talks about who he would have given his idol to, but his reason for not doing so kind of confuses me.
What Sierra probably needed most is the hidden immunity idol, which is this guy right here. I thought about leaving it and telling her where it was, but you know, at this point, because she's such a target, I don't think that this could have saved her.
Number 25, I love seeing Ponderosa, the place that the jurors live at, as each season seems to have something different. The current seasons in Fiji are fancy, but in Tocantins, it's like a glorified camping trip, which seems lame at first glance, but honestly, it adds so much flavor to these videos that makes this season's Ponderosa my favorite one yet.
It's nice to have a roof over my head, if you can call it a roof. We're in these tents and we have these little cots, so I've still only been getting like 5-6 hours of sleep at night. You know, when you hear Ponderosa, like you're thinking you're in Brazil, like you're thinking maybe like hotel or some type of nice plush place, but open air facility. It's like Smith Family Robinson or something like that.
Number 26, I have literally no idea if any other season does this, as this is only my 8th secrets video and it hasn't happened yet in any of the previous ones. But at this Ponderosa, the jurors have to sign into the jury board using letter tiles. Brendan starts it off normally, but when Tyson comes to Ponderosa next, he goes completely against how it's supposed to work, and by the end of the season, it is a beautiful mess.
Brendan, Tyson, Sierra, Deb, Coach, Taj, and Aaron.
Number 27, when Tyson is initially voted out, he feels a bit scorned by everyone except 2 people, and keep in mind that the only 2 people who stayed true to him with their voting was Coach and Debbie.
I think everybody turned on me except for Coach and probably JT. The people that voted for me were probably Debbie, Sierra, Steven, Taj, and Aaron.
Number 28. As you may or may not know, Tyson was a Mormon missionary for 2 years before ever going on Survivor. He did his work in the Philippines, and when he came back to America from there, he said he appreciated how nice it was for about a week. So it's funny how he knows that everyone here saying their lives will be forever changed are unintentionally lying.
I lived in the Philippines for 2 years. It was the same thing. I lived in a little hut with nothing, and when I got back, yeah, I did appreciate things for about a week. And then you're just like back, everybody's here is like, I'm gonna appreciate things for the rest of my life. No, after a week, you're like, give me more cars, and I want a motorcycle and some jewelry and fur coats. Everybody wants that.
Number 29. Despite Tyson doing this in a joking manner, I think he's actually the juror who does the best explanation of the struggle of having unlimited access to food after being on Survivor and how your brain and stomach are at war.
The hard part is, even after it's been 2 days, I still feel like I have to cram food in my body. Like, my body's telling me no, I can't even fit any more in, but my head is like, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating.
Number 30. If I were to play on Survivor, I would imagine my lowest moment would be being voted out of the game. I mean, there aren't many things you can do worse in the game than being kicked out, but for Sierra, being voted out at the end wasn't the worst.
My ultimate lowest moment was the first day I got voted out. Being the first person voted out before you could even speak to people gave me tingles in my body like I've never had before, and having to stand there and be like, and think to yourself, like, I never thought I was gonna be one of the first people out. I knew that I was worth keeping around for a while, so it's an ego bruiser.
Number 31. Some of us have wondered if a female from this season would ever get asked back to play. Personally, I'm all on board for Taj or Aaron to make a return myself, but if you were ever wondering about a Sierra return, here is the scoop.
They used to tell me that everyone who's done this before would do it again. Never. No way.
Number 32. When Sierra joins the jury, all of a sudden, and this is very suspicious to me personally, we hear from Brendan about how lonely it is to be sleeping by themselves at Ponderosa. Brendan acts as if, oh, you know, you get voted out and then we all need a night to sleep with other people in the same tent. And I am not saying this isn't true, but we never saw this before with him and Tyson, and we don't see it when others join the jury afterwards.
Wasn't prepared to have house guests. It totally makes sense coming back. Once you get used to sleeping with a group of people or with other people, it's just like, it's very lonely when you don't do it.
I'm sleeping with Brendan. Where are you?
We have separation anxiety from each other. Isn't that weird?
Number 33, Ponderosa can get boring if you let it, and let me tell you, Tyson is not letting it get boring. While we see Brendan playing with Sierra and Debbie a lot, Tyson is too busy making the most intense activity ever. That's right, he made a slip and slide.
That was awesome! It was definitely thrilling. Woo! My concern is, what's the next rush? What's the next thrill? How much further can I go? I know how Evel Knievel felt, and I know how his son feels. You don't need to pay to go have a good time in the water at a water park. I did this virtually for free.
Number 34, when Debbie arrives at Ponderosa, she tells Tyson, please don't be mad, but I've been wearing your shorts ever since you got voted out. But he doesn't care because there is someone far worse who could be tainting his perfectly good shorts.
Hey, I've been living in your shorts.
Good. I was just glad they weren't on Aaron's gross butt.
Number 35, Coach is voted out, and despite everything, there is only one person he pins his downfall on, Fishback, and the women who supposedly control him.
Out of the 3 final warriors, the Wizard was the cagiest. The Wizard would be the one that might break because he's got a soft spot for women. And I saw Aaron put her hand on his leg today, and I saw Taj reassuring him the entire day. So that's what must have happened. The Wizard was definitely not the White Wizard. He was the evil wizard in the end to vote out one of the most colorful characters in this game.
Number 36. By the second half of this season, even after Coach is voted out, the Dragon Slayer persona is on full display with no shame. It is brilliant. He believes that going by Coach instead of Ben is a bold choice, that if you polled every survivor, they would say he is crazy. I mean, I know at least one lady in South Pacific who agrees.
I mean, if you were to poll the survivors, hey, should I go by Coach or Ben? I bet every one of them would say, go by Ben. Don't go by Coach, that's too powerful of a lead-in.
Number 37. Almost all of the time at Ponderosa, we see Brendan with one of 2 people, either Sierra or Debbie. There is a lot of playing between him and these 2 ladies. Well, apparently, before the tribal council where Taj is voted out, Brendan has lipstick on his face because of Sierra, and he cannot get it off.
The girls put lipstick on me, and I can't get it off now. Uh-oh. What is this stuff?
You can't even see it.
Concealer.
Look, and I rub it in.
I'm into it.
Number 38. I think we all viewed Erin as a goat to drag to the end as we watched Tocantins and saw how much people really didn't care for her. Well, apparently she's not as big of a goat as we thought, because she would have received more votes than Fishback at Final Tribal Council.
I got blindsided by my tribe, who I trusted. Erin finds a way to weasel herself into the end. She got my vote.
Number 39. And the love for JT continues. I guess it never really ends this season, as the next day Taj is doing her sit-down interview where she reveals how much she loves JT and wants to fight Fishback.
Steven, he's a smart guy, very shy guy. He's that intellectual individual that you want to be around. But there's also that side of him that I wasn't familiar with, and that was the direct player that wanted that $1 million at no cost. Regardless of relationships, regardless of how great we had a plan that could have worked perfectly had we just followed along with it. I didn't know that part very well, and that was the part I met last night, who I wanted to fight.
Number 40. I do think Taj may have been the only person who would have given Erin her vote, as no one else at Ponderosa seems to like her, not even Sierra.
Well, I just think that Tamira's never really liked me from the first place, and, you know, Jeff, I really think you should be saying that about me, because they really don't like me, and they never did.
Number 41. When Erin gets voted out of the game, she does not see this perception of herself at all. She does not understand that the others are not her biggest fan. In fact, she thinks she could have possibly beat JT at the end, and I'm not sure how to say this, but no one was going to beat JT at the end, not even Taj.
I have a decent argument to go up against JT. I've gone through this entire game, and I don't think I've made anybody mad.
I think that maybe Erin being here kind of subdued the tone because, you know, everybody likes her, but everybody just tolerates her.
Number 42. Before JT won and it was time to go to vote for the winner, everyone is at Ponderosa saying how this is a super serious decision and I gotta put a lot of time and thought into this. However, Tyson doesn't care at all, and he tells us exactly what he thinks each of these guys would do if they won the $1 million.
Who should I give the money to? Oh my gosh. Both these guys I'll probably never see again, but one of them's gonna win $1 million.
I don't care, dude. So what? JT's gonna buy a bigger truck in Alabama? Steven the nerd's gonna buy some nerdy computer gear, probably.
Number 43. Back in the olden days of Survivor, the winner did not receive their $1 million check at the finale and instead received it on live TV the next day. While you can most certainly see a decline of the showmanship for this as the seasons progress, just take a look at my Marquesas Secrets video to see how much they cared back then. Here it is cool to see JT get a massive check.
Check, please. A replica of your check to James J.T. Thomas Jr. $1 million and no cents. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Number 44. One of the fun things about these Survivor DVDs is when they provide every single unedited voting confessional. Most people are duds, sure, but sometimes the show cuts out interesting ones, and here we see Tyson voting for Sierra on the night he goes home, and he is mean.
I'm voting for you because you have a weird deformed finger from a horse bite. Gross. You're a jerk.
Number 45. In that same episode when Tyson is mean, we do actually hear from Coach where he calls Sierra the bride of the dragon. Maybe Coach knew about them sharing a tent on Ponderosa before it ever even happened? Well, anyways, in episode 11, they cut out this voting confessional from him talking again about her being the bride of the dragon. Kind of a follow-up to the one we saw on the show.
2 trials ago, I slew your dragon boyfriend. Tonight, I have to take care of his princess. You're not so much of a princess after you use that mouth tonight, are you?
Number 46. How does one physically prepare for Survivor? Stephen Fishback was asked this in a Q&A video for Survivor Wiki, and keep in mind this answer is after he's already played twice, but focuses on how he messed up for Tocantins.
I bulked up, I put on a lot of mass. I worked out a ton. I did the exact wrong type of working out. I did a lot of push-ups, and arm curls, and it's there's no real, you need more endurance strength, like a short burst energy is what you need out there. Doing a bench press is not that helpful.
Number 47. One thing that bugs me about Big Brother is how obvious a lot of the diary room confessionals are rehearsed or scripted. It makes the show feel inauthentic. Thankfully, Survivor doesn't do this, as explained by Coach.
All the stuff that I said was original. They never say, hey, why don't you say this? Hey, why don't you say, if I slay the dragon, I'm going to become the dragon slayer. It was all stuff that I was coming up with.
Number 48. Throughout the season and throughout this Secrets video, we have seen time and time again how beloved JT was and how Stephen Fishback was viewed as sneaky. Well, here we get a pretty good evaluation from Coach about Fishback and why he got 0 votes.
And so I remember at that final tribal, there was not one time where he stood up for himself. And JT would say something and he would throw Stephen under the bus a little bit, and Stephen would go to say something and then he'd look at him and put his hand on his shoulder and, Coach, I'm sorry, man, I didn't put you on the jury. I didn't vote for you, Coach. And Stephen wanted to go say something and didn't. And, the truth was, if Stephen would have said, listen, man, you're totally full of shit. These people are seeing one side of you. You knew Coach was going home. You could have saved him. You could have told me, don't vote for Coach. Let's save him. And I would have saved him because we voted the same way, And so Stephen did not call JT on anything at the end. I don't think that he was going to lose, but I think that if Stephen would have kicked up a fuss, I think he would have gotten more votes. Yeah. I think he could have made it close.
Number 49. It seems like the behind the scenes Secrets videos basically suggest there was a chemistry between Sierra and Brendan, and heck, Candace was getting to a point where she may have even kissed the Dragon Slayer himself, had she been out there long enough, of course. But as it turns out, Coach was attracted to someone else all along.
Well, our relationship was very interesting. In the beginning, I think it was, she's not my type, but I kind of like her. And she was like, maybe he's a little bit older or whatever. He's not my type, but there was definitely something in the beginning. There was a little, listen, man, I was younger then, right? Mm-hmm. And, like me and Candace, there's a little flirting going on. So, it was like that in the beginning with Sierra, too. I see now that, Sierra threw all of her eggs into Brendan's basket.
Number 50. This story seems too crazy to be true, but that is par for the course with Coach. Anyways, apparently at Exile Island, he tells this wild tale about peeing in a circle around himself to protect him while he slept, and apparently it worked.
And so I pee in a big circle around where I'm asleep. It's literally just out in the open. I'm sitting there, laying there, not a lot of sleep, and I hear the producers walking, and there's somebody saying, the big cats are coming right towards you guys. They're coming right towards you. And the producer's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? They're just like, sit tight, man, sit tight. Anyway, so I go to sleep. The next morning I woke up, I got hour or two of sleep. The next morning I woke up, man, these big cats had gone right around my pee. They like circled me during the night while I was freaking sleeping, dude. Because there's a huge pop, and she was so cool, man. And nerve-wracking.
Number 51. In an interview with JT and Steven, JT reveals that out of the 3 seasons he has played on, Tocantins was by far the worst when it came to the elements and the food situation.
Doing the hardest one first probably helped out a lot. You know, it's not really going to get much harder than that.
So you feel like Tocantins was the hardest season you played in terms of like just the elements and everything?
For sure, Tocantins was definitely the hardest one I played.
Yeah.
You know, we had no food in Tocantins.
I forget that sometimes. Like, we were like truly starving. We would have like a spoonful of rice like a day.
Yeah, exactly.
So which secret blew your mind the most? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching, and if you like the content you see here, then please consider supporting me and this channel on Patreon. Your financial support makes this channel possible, so thank you, and thank you for watching.